All right, got a pretty good amount of snow during the week. Tuesday, of course. So I think goal today. Found out that the cab is just slightly tilted back. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to rebuild this mount to a little bit longer, and then get the cab leveled back out. So I think the idea is I don't know if you've ever seen one of these guys, digital angle finder. So if we put that at 0 and then put this on the frame, this side looks pretty good. Pretty good. I'll zero that out again. So that's the frame. That's pretty close. We could do a little bit of adjusting, but that ain't bad. This side over here. Yeah, and that's not terrible, but I bet you we can get some adjustment out of that. Get it a little closer. Yeah, about 1 degree. 1 degree doesn't sound like much, but if one of the YouTube guys caught it, that was just a little out of whack, and that messes this up. So you put 1 degree and 5 feet, you know, that really messes how this thing lands. So I'd like to get the cab, the back of it pulled up a little bit, and then I think the idea here is the radiator support has this bracket on it on both sides. So I'm going to put some flat stock across that, and then the radiator support has a bolt right in the middle of it. You can see it right there. So if I can do a bar that goes across from there to there, I can build a little standoff for that. That'll mount the radiator support up where it needs to be, and I think I'll be able to get the grill mounted. Kind of use these marked lines that somebody had painted for my reference marks. You can see how far off that is, and the fender needs to go forward quite a bit, and the nose needs to come up. So I think that's the goal today, is just try to get that front clip mounted, and then I'm gonna hopefully see what those inner fender wells look like, how those are gonna clear. And if they don't, one of the other YouTube guys I was talking with, he's a big bus guy, Jay. He had some Bluebirds that had rubber, like truck bed liner, thick rubber material with just a bar. Might be able to mount to that, with just a bar that goes across, and the rubber hangs down and clips on the frame for splash guards. And I think that would be perfect for this. I don't need anything fancy. I just need enough to block the engine bay off. So I might mess around with that a little bit. In the meantime, I got a guy coming to look at this one, number 46. Hopefully get this one sold today. That would be cool. I got it stuck. Actually, I got my truck and trailer stuck over there. I slid off the driveway and 4-wheel drive wasn't working. So I sunk my truck in the trailer. So I got the dump truck out to pull it out. Got that stuck, and had the tension on the chain between the truck and the trailer and the dump truck so tight I couldn't disconnect it. So I had to use this bus to push the dump truck back to loosen the slack off of it, and then I used this bus to pull the dump truck out. Then I got this bus stuck right here. So I let it sit for a couple days till the snow went away, and then pulled it out. So a mess. That's all right. So hopefully somebody's going to buy this thing today. I'd be happy to see this thing go. I'll get messing around. Okay, so ended up being about 1 degree off. And now we're dead on. So what's cool about these things is it doesn't matter what angle the truck is at. So the ass end is way high, the front end's down low because of the big hill. Doesn't matter what angle the truck is at, as long as you zero it out, you can check, you know, all the angles anywhere, and until there's twist in the frame or whatever, which you'll probably start seeing some twist here, it reads accurate. So that 1 degree, man, holy crap. So these were originally 7.5 inches long. So I had to make them 9.5 inches long, and move the mounts down a little bit because this thing raised up, I'm not joking, probably a good inch and a quarter, something like that. And then to double check, we should be checking on the floor. We're at 7.5. I think we were 7.25 up here, or 7.75. I'm gonna try to find a spot that has the same rib in it. And it's about 7.5. So yeah, that's pretty equal. I can't complain about that. Now I gotta check the driver's side, see how far off it is. I could probably measure between the frame and the cab there and the frame and the cab there, make sure that they're equal. Actually kind of looks like this. Looks like it's sloping down a little bit, so we'll see. But anyways, pretty easy fix. And now when you look at this, this lines up better. There's still a pretty good gap here, but this down here could go forward. So ultimately that equals out. And then the driver's side, I don't have mounted yet, but it was pretty close. We've got a very close reveal all the way across the whole thing. So that tells me that the cab on this side is pretty good. So now I can start messing with sheet metal. I raised this up actually 1.5 inches or so, you know, approximately, just to kind of get it where it needs to be. That'll get some more airflow in here, and that actually raises the hood up a little bit to where maybe those cross members on the hood will clear. So yeah, it's getting there. I think pull the front sheet metal off now, build a brace across those 2 bars across the bottom there, and see what we could find to support the center of this guy. I may end up having to do some kind of frame mount, I'm not really sure, to support this corner, because this originally went down to the inner fender, if I remember right. So there's really no support on the sides. It'll be supported in the center, but it's gonna wanna weeble wobble to and fro. So we'll have to figure out what to do with that. I don't really wanna mount anything on the bumper, I don't think. I'd rather not mess with that, but maybe do some supports. This mounts the, yeah, that's pretty thin. Maybe do some supports from the corner down into the frame. Grab one of these frame holes, or maybe this frame hole back here, I don't know. Find something to be able to brace that vertically and laterally on. So, all right, one more step. It's like the same picture from before, except for everything is actually in place now, and not totally secure, but mostly secure. I got to go buy some new bolts. All these old ones are a little bit too worn out to reuse. But anyways, so I've got these little angle bars here. That's gonna give me a little bit of lateral support probably for this floppy corner. I'll tie those in somehow. I figure might as well use a little bit longer bar in there. And you can kind of see if we can peek in there. You can kind of see that radiator mount sits right on top of that, and that gives me a little bit of clearance here. I ended up raising everything up. I raised the cab up yesterday. a little bit, or a lot of it, to help get this all lined back up again, so that's good. And then raising this nose up helped line all that back up again too. So this is nice though, because I've got nice, 2 inches of clearance there. That's gonna get some more airflow in there. There's a lot blocked off by this piece on the radiator, so that's gonna help shuffle some air in. But all this is in place. The hood's just sitting up there right now. It's not totally secure, but let me see if I can get it but it works out really nice because everything tucks up really well under there, like it's meant to be. These little crossbars actually don't even hit anything anymore. They fall right down out of the way. Anybody who knows these old Fords knows that these hood hinges are basically complete garbage. I'm not really sure what I'm going to use. Problem is opening that hood. This thing is, the hood is up to the top of my head, so I don't know if I'd ever even get that thing open if I wanted to, without standing on a step stool or something. But holy crap. And inner fenders, I already kind of talked about that. I think gonna have to do something about this. That whole look kind of bugs me with that 6-inch gap there and nothing there, so I'm not really sure. I don't really want to cut this fender and fold it open and then re-weld it, because I don't have this paint. I don't know what paint color that is. And then if I did paint it, even if it's the same color, this whole fender would be brand new paint, and then everything else would just look all rough and whatever. So I don't really know what I want to do with that yet. Still kicking around building fender flares for it. So not sure what I want to do there, but I think today I want to get these gauges figured out. Yeah, that's gonna suck. So I got to get that behind me. I got to get those gauges put in place. So I took the factory dash out of the International, and this is what the gauge is mounted to. So I think I'm gonna end up using this as a template inside that dash and basically cut that out of the dash. See if we can set this in there and find a way to secure it. Again, don't really know if I want to weld it, just because I don't want to have to paint the dash in the interior, but you got to do what you got to do, I guess. And boy, that is going to be a chore. There's just not a lot of room there, man, or anything. That's gonna suck. So, and then on the bed, I think I decided, I'm sure I talked about it in one of the videos, making the bed 20 foot long. That way I could haul my daily driver truck if it ever breaks down. But the chances of that, I'm gonna haul it maybe once or twice, I'm sure, knock on wood. So I don't really think, in order to do that, I'd have to build a whole new bed, new frame, new C-channel, new wood floor or steel floor or whatever. Basically the whole thing. So that means this whole thing goes to waste. And there's nothing wrong with this thing. It's in really good shape. It's not all rusted out. The wood's in good shape. It's still totally usable. So I think instead of doing that, I'm just gonna leave it this size, 14 foot. That's plenty for what I want to use this thing for anyways. And then I'll get an electric winch or electric PTO, or not a PTO, electric hoist for like a dump trailer that'll mount in here. And then looking at all the measurements for the drive shaft again, in order to do that, that axle would have to come all the way up to here. Hopefully, I think I've got enough room there in the between the gas tank and the fuel tank and the wheels. But basically what I'd do, this has got the slip yoke on it, basically take this drive shaft, eliminate that one, take this U-joint off, and put that slip yoke on it, so this flange basically ends up on this U-joint, and that's it. So, and then that's going to drive basically where the axle goes. So whatever I eliminate from this U-joint, center of this U-joint, to center of this U-joint, that's the number that I'm taking out. So then I can just take that number, move all these holes up for absolutely everything. The bags, the cross member, I'm definitely going to move this cross member and that cross member. Both of those have to move. All the relays got to move up, but I can just, you know, if it's 62 and 5/8, I can just make a story pole 62 and 5/8 and mark every single hole, drill every single hole, slide everything up, bolt it right back into place, and hopefully not have to mess with the drive shaft stuff again. So anyways, I'm going to work on the dash there a little bit today and see what comes of that. Not bad, right? All right, climb down. Okay, so the height's good, yeah? Perfect. Better do this update before I get anything done. So I've got the steps on. That was pretty much a big pain in the ass, but those guys are on. Makes it a whole lot easier to get in this truck. The gauges, I can't do it, man. It's every time I think about cutting this dash, it makes me cry. So I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do. Thought about maybe mounting them down here somewhere. I don't really know. Ultimately, I will cut the dash, I'm sure, but it just it hurts to do it right now. Oh man, this stick is freaking awesome. So I'm gonna do I'll do a flap. I'll replace this one. I'm gonna do some bed liner, like big rubber truck bed flaps to make the splash guard here. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Just do a little rubber piece there for that. Starting to get all the fender hardware installed. So this is all pretty solid. I got those braces up on the top installed. The radiator support braces there. So now I'm just kind of going through and it's pretty solid except for the bottom here. I don't remember the bottom flopping around this much, but that's all getting tied in. So getting close. I think I'll put the factory hinges back on. I don't really like them, but I'll put the factory hinges back on and get this hood installed. Probably not today because this is coming in pretty quick. But it's getting there. Yeah, got this door readjusted. Oh, I see that now. Okay, so I need to readjust this door. And I still got all this interior stuff to do. Gotta tie all this up, but that's where we're at.